Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report, and I've got to tell you the story of the most wonderful fishing that I've had in years, and it was yesterday in fishing CAYUGA Lake. And so here's what it was like. Dave has been telling me, my buddy Dave Swanson has been telling me for ages that the one way that he's found to catch lake trout that's the most effective of all is to be able to vertically jig something back up after it hits the bottom, to just reel it straight up. And this is the thing that we did yesterday, and it was just absolutely amazing. And I want to tell you why it was so amazing to me. I've spent my whole life fishing, and yet this was one of the most unique experiences that I've ever had. What we did was, Dave has graphs that tell him exactly how deep it is and if he can see any fish down on the bottom. And we try to get at that magic depth. And once we get there and he sees that there's fish down there, he'll tell us to drop our lures, just open the bail and let the lure fall naturally all the way to the bottom. Then as you reel it up, he said, don't set the hook. And this is something that just amazed me. Linda and I both were side by side, and we went at least 2 hours and we're not getting a strike. And I'm thinking, what are we doing wrong? And all of a sudden the action changed. I felt a strike. We were able to hook a fish, and I will tell you, in my entire lifetime, I don't remember fishing quite like this. We ended up catching and releasing 12 giant lake trout. To me, they were giants. And these fish fought with such power and severity. I can't describe it. You'd have to feel this to understand. I've caught huge muskies, and I've caught a lot of other big fish in my life. And I'll tell you what, these lake trout are incredible. And if you've never caught one, don't misjudge what they might be like. They really are a ferocious fish. The power, and I know that you can feel it 24 hours later on your wrists, trying to bring these fish in on a medium action rod. They had these rods doubled up almost with a tip in the water. It was an incredible experience. And it's one I couldn't wait to share. I don't remember being so impressed with a certain type of fishing. This was absolutely fabulous. And Dave has told me so many times about how critical the way you do this is. The lures that we were using are paddle tail lures that David made. We've talked before in the past about some of his tips if you want to get into making your own fishing lures, all the things that are involved and the rewards that come to you if you can do this. And I know Dave is here with me right now. And Dave, watching us take your lures and drop these, what were we using, 3 or 4 inch?
They were actually, most of the fish were caught on either 4.2 or 3.8 inch swim baits.
And would you say the color is critical?
I find the color to be absolutely critical. You can fish a particular color, and interestingly though, I've watched the fish. I could see the fish on my graph and see them come up to check out the bait as it's falling. And as you may recall, last night we spent an hour plus not catching a fish, and having fish come and take a look at the baits and not hit anything. And if you recall, at one point I had one of us, I think maybe it was you, change colors. And that was within moments of that color change, if I'm not mistaken. That was when one of the fish hit. So the colors, I think, are critical. I think changing colors periodically is critical.
Well, it sure was incredible. I know when we got back, I immediately contacted our friend Rust back home in Canton. Said, Rust, you won't believe this kind of fishing. You got to experience it yourself. When I tell you how the power of these fish, you got to experience this to see how much fun it could be. And this is why I think it's so enjoyable. When you're just letting that lure down to the bottom and reeling it up, it's not that different as if you were out casting. It's not like trolling. You feel the strike and the power immediately. And that's, to me, one of the greatest parts of fishing. You know, you could break down any fishing experience into a number of parts of it. Number one, finding the fish, casting and trying to hit a designated target. And for me, it's all about the strike. When I feel that strike, that's the ultimate gift back to me in fishing. is to feel the strike. And that's what was so wonderful about this kind of fishing. Be reeling it straight up and wondering, is there one going to take it? Is there one down there seeing this rise? And then to feel it, the thrum, the vibration going through your hand. And the hardest thing for me was not jerking back and setting the hook, because that's something we try to teach people with muskie fishing, is how critical it is to set the hook. Dave, you're smiling. You're the one that taught me this. I don't know if you've taught me it, but you've actually made me try it.
Well, everybody that I talked to when I got down here said, whatever you do, and when you're jigging for Lakers, do not set the hook when they hit. Just keep reeling. And I've discovered actually that, number one, it's a good idea because often they don't actually hit it well enough to get hooked. I won't say often. Periodically, they'll hit it short. You'll feel the tug, but they won't get hooked. And if you just keep reeling, they will more often than not hit it again. And it may be on that second or maybe the third try that they'll actually get hooked. But if you set the hook and you miss them, then you're done. And many times, if you set the hook and hook them, you're only going to hook them for an instant and then they'll be gone. So, and as you said, it's really, you train yourself how to set the hook and you get to the point where you have to learn how to do that. And then all of a sudden you're in an area where somebody's telling you don't set the hook whatever you do. And it's very hard for somebody that's gotten used to setting the hook.
It sure is. I was thinking yesterday, because I watched you, Dave, and your wife. Every time we go a period of time and no strikes, Dave would pick up a rod and let it down, and he'd start to reel up, and I'd be watching his rod, and I'd see it all of a sudden double up, and I'm thinking, what is he doing that we're not doing? He must have some magic trick. And I guess it was. But this is. I hope you folks remember this trek that I'm telling you about with our lake trout fishing, because it's absolutely spectacular. And you can do this any place that these fish live. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.